What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb Vlog, coming to you from Houston. Rainy, rainy Houston. But I was totally recharged yesterday after a really great conference. I just dipped in and dipped out. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I won't there all day. But it's the energy, the vibe, it's the people knowing they better do something in 2021 because Trump showed them in 2020, Biden showed them in 2020, and trust me, you better get yours or get left behind. All right, own or be owned, folks. So listen, I came today and I said, listen. I looked at my Coinbase. I said, "Oh Lord, I ain't been putting too much money in crypto, but the money I did put there, I looked at it. I said, oh my goodness, what has happened? It's a battlefield out here." So I said, let me bring on the best expert I know on stock market because listen, when crypto crashes, is the stock market right behind it? Yeah. Wall Street Bet's been out here playing games, but I don't know. But if you could, drop your city and state in here and drop a like in here. If you like this show, check it more out on the Just Stock Profits channel. But today we're on the main channel because we came here to see you, the people. Introduce yourself, Mr. Diamond Dave.
How you doing? My name is Diamond Dave, also known as David Williams. I'm the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world options training course, and really excited to have this conversation with you on the Sunday, a little bit of an impromptu, but there's a lot of things going on in the market, and we want to kind of give people a heads up of what's going on. So as we transition into Monday, they kind of understand what's going on, and maybe they can position themselves in their portfolio to put themselves in a position to maybe take advantage of this or safeguard it so they don't lose money in the scenario.
I love it. I love it. So, a lot of times people don't understand that our economy is connected. Now, what do I mean connected? Lumber's connected to what's going on Home Depot and going on Lowe's, right? Lowe's and Home Depot have been packed. But why are they packed? Right? We're short on contractors. We're short on supplies. We're short on different things. So all these things play into the market because in the summer is the DIY summer, right? Your mom and your dad watch HGTV. They think they're going to fix a bunch of stuff. And so several things play into the market and people try to play like they're independent of each other, but they're not. Yeah. They're very connected. Some of the same people that are in crypto are in the stock market, right? If they're taking a hit in crypto, they may do what? Take some money from the stock market to recover some of those losses. So, Diamond Dave, lead us into it. Talk to us. What's going on out there this week in the market? It was crazy.
Yeah. So what we've seen, especially this morning, but we've been seeing this pretty much over the past few weeks. That comment from Mom was crazy. What we've been seeing over the past few weeks is that they've been pulling a lot of money out of crypto, and one of the reasons is because we kind of everything goes in cycles, and so maybe Bitcoin, Ethereum, we don't want to really go into Dogecoin quite yet. We think maybe they topped out. And what we mean is that with any equity, with any security, even though the United States doesn't really see crypto as an actual security yet, they see it, I think, as an asset, as legally. You reach a point to where the price gets to a top where people now start looking to take profit. It's impossible for something to go up indefinitely, even though potentially it can. But normally what happens is the market will get to a certain point. And then what happens is a lot of the larger players in the market will say, okay, it's time for me to take profit, sell this down, let some other people come in, and then we'll kind of see how it falls out, and then we can kind of walk this back up at a later time. And so the market always goes in cycles. So I tell people to look at it like you're breathing. You're going to inhale, you're going to exhale. You're going to inhale, you're going to exhale. You can never have a period where all you do is inhale or exhale, then you're going to have a real issue. So you got to look at the market and going in that path. So when we're looking at crypto, we really had a strong one, especially on Bitcoin. Bitcoin in October, I think, was around $10,000, if not a little bit over. Bitcoin got almost to 60,000 and it started selling off. This is normal. And if Bitcoin is going to be an actual real, security or actual move like a real equity, we're going to have periods where it's going to go up, it's going to fall, it's going to go up, it's going to fall. And you just got to determine whether or not you're going to take profit or you're going to ride it out.
Right. And so for me, when I look at crypto, when I see $60,000 for Bitcoin, I'm like, the average person ain't going to get that. Yeah. The average person will never get a one piece of Bitcoin. You see what I'm saying? And so there is this, like we talk about in stocks, all these $50 and under stocks, people out here like, oh, I'm like, it's under $50. Yeah. Take you 100, drop it in, and then keep your life moving, right? Yeah. But again, that's me speaking from a place of privilege. Someone sent me a beautiful email about I'm in a place of privilege the other day. And so my biggest thing is, okay, I think some of the money that's being used over there could have been in the market, right? And as you know, we've talked about commodities, we talked about crops, we've talked about what's going on in the economy. what are some things people need to be looking out for in the fall? Do they need to double down on crypto? Or do they need to be focusing on how to make money in the stock market, whether it's up or down?
Yeah, and that's what I think they should need to do. They need to be looking at how to make money in the stock market, whether it goes up or down. I mean, to be real frank with you, is I believe that crypto eventually was going to sell off. And so I was trying to figure out, was there platforms in which I could short crypto or buy put options on crypto? So when this thing falls down, I'm able to make money on the fall. And so what I really tell people to do is learn how to make money long term, learn how to, put your money, store your money away in the stock market with the goal that it appreciates, but also learn how to make a little bit of money also when the market starts to sell off. Because what you'll have in the market is this: the big players will come into the market, they will bring the market up and use a lot of PR, use a lot of media to get people to follow them.
Yeah.
Once they get enough people inside that particular area, then now they exit. And they look to exit and to leave retail essentially in that market, and the retail gets scared as it starts to fall down. And they just run that cycle over and over and over again because they have the relationships, they have the control of media. So the average person doesn't know that an area is hot if they're not studying the market until media tells them about it. And then once media tells them about it, essentially all the big players are already in the space. So you're seeing this with crypto, and a guy put on the post that they want to buy in that crypto at 25K. But this is the thing. They roll crypto up. They're the reason why crypto went to 60,000. So they can sell it down, take that money, put that into another part of the economy. They know the average person doesn't really understand how to play the downside of the market. And then let's say 6 months from now, they want to ride crypto back up because that's a good place to get a return. They can just ride crypto back up again and get a good place to get a return. So they have so much capital. They know how to swing the market, and they understand that retail normally is just going to follow whatever movement that they do. And then when you got celebrities like Mr. Musk that can promote a coin on his own and get people to come in, then he also has the power to do the same thing. He can literally move a whole market by himself.
Something I noticed yesterday when we were talking about retail versus people who are really studying it. I was at the conference and there was a guy, he had full of energy, and he said, okay, I love what y'all talking about, real estate. What should I be doing? So the guy goes, well, what do you want to do? Where are you trying to go? I don't know, but I know I need to be in real estate. So the crowd laughed, and and beautiful, Chris is beautiful at this. He said, hey, I mentor people. He knows he needs to be in the space. He just don't know where yet. And this is where a lot of people are. They see, by the time they see the news, they like, dang, I should be in. I remember a friend reaching out to me when I thought Bitcoin was way too high then. It was like 20 or 30 grand or something. And my friend was like, yeah, I'm thinking about buying some Bitcoin. I looked over at him and I'm like, what? This is a man that does real estate day in and day out. He's buying, he's flipping, he's helping wholesalers. And I thought it was funny because it's almost like the fear of missing out, right? Like, oh, I need to be over here. Well, you just heard about it because it was on the news. This isn't like people who really been studying, deep diving, educating themselves, ready to do it, ready to go. How can people prevent themselves from basically losing their money when they really don't? They're just coming in and out. They're just a retail investor. What should they kind of watch out for?
I mean, I would watch out for trying to follow the crowd. So there's nothing wrong with being in a good group of people that are doing the right thing, that are moving in a positive direction. That's what you want to be. But what you want to try to avoid is that you're not becoming educated and knowledgeable about a scenario, and you're just running because everybody else is running. And really, that's hardwired into our DNA. Millions of years ago, we was in Africa. If we were sitting by somewhere and we were just chilling out, and next thing you know, everybody started running, we would just start running because we would be worried that if I get left out here by myself, I'm going to get killed by other predators.
For sure.
So it's so hard to widen our DNA to follow the crowd. When we see everybody moving in one direction, we think that's what we need to be. And so now, because of market forces and things of that nature, they can take advantage of that. So what I would do is tell people to really commit to educating yourself at least on one area. So if you're going to be in crypto, learn about at least one coin and become like an expert on that one coin, and be willing to just do the due diligence. You ain't got to do 5 hours a day. Just do 10, 15 minutes a week, maybe 10, 15 minutes a day. Learn about a particular coin and understand what is actually behind that particular coin, and then how can I maybe get a return from this particular coin, and then what happens if things don't go the way I want it to go. As opposed to, we're going from Dogecoin, now there's another coin I think called Shiba. Then we're going to go from the Shiba coin to another. And so you're always jumping, looking for the next hot thing. Now, if you're a momentum trader and that's how you trade, you're just a momentum guy, I get it, but momentum traders understand that it's a momentum play and it's not a long-term play, and they expect days like this where the rug gets pulled out and everything just starts to sell out. So you really got to dedicate yourself to really becoming educated on the space and not just going with what everybody's doing, especially because it's hot on social media.
I'm gonna say this, and this is like cultural, but I notice usually we're very like skeptical, like I don't know about that, I don't know about that. But when it comes to the stock market or crypto, man, you hear about that stock? You hear about that AMC? Did you hear about that GME? Like people get really like they just we lost him, but he should come back. They just lose all the thought process of, oh, maybe I should study this. And while we're waiting on Dave to come back, Thought Crimes, what is up, you guys? If you haven't checked out the Thought Crimes YouTube channel, these guys are pretty good. I like them. They crack me up. They have the little face caricatures. You know what I'm saying? Some days I wish I could do just the face caricature. Okay. Thank you for coming back to us.
Sorry about that.
I was just saying, in our culture, usually we're like skeptical. We're the number one skeptical people. Like, I don't know about that. I sound like a hustle to me, right? But when it comes to the stock market and crypto, it's like we are on for the ride. And I don't know what's that about. I'm concerned about it. But yeah, Will Mellon said people say stocks are risky, yet they will be quick to tell you crypto is the move. They might as well invest that monopoly money.
Okay, I mean that's an interesting opinion. I wouldn't necessarily crypto is monopoly money, but if you're not educated on this space, it can be a high degree of risk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me see. I saw somebody else's comment. Let me see. I love this. She said, "Why are so many people crying? Uninformed, except by way of the news." Yeah. Y'all have a lot in here. Y'all have this stuff. This one says, "I think I think that's what yours says. ADA will be good ROI, but man, I wish I had bought it this morning instead of last night."
Exactly.
That's how it goes. Somebody said the whales manipulate the market, the retailers sell, and then the whales come in and buy low. The crazy thing to me is when I hear something on the news, I'm already like, oh, I missed it. I don't know about you, but when I hear something on like CNBC News or Fox News, I'm like, oh, dang, I done missed it. Whatever it is, I done missed it. Because by the time they report on it, because they're so slow, it's already passed.
And what I would say to Ms. Dawson is that it's really not manipulation, but it is manipulation in a way in which the whales are trying to make the market go the way they want to go. But the whales make the market. So crypto doesn't go to 60,000 without major players in the space. Crypto doesn't go to 100,000 without major players in the space. But understand, with them being major players, their time horizon and their actual reason why they're investing can be different than retail. So if I'm a big fund manager, I have to show a return every 90 days because I got essentially people that I'm beholden to. So then if I go to crypto and let's say I'm able to get 30% over a 90-day period, it may mean that I need to go move that money somewhere else where I think I can get another return. I can't necessarily let everything sit in crypto. But without the big money in crypto, crypto never gets to 100,000 or even get to 500,000 because you need that big money in there to drive that demand and to really bring that equity up. Just like I need big money in Apple, or I need big money in other places to make those particular stocks valuable.
So prime example. Someone's saying, should I buy $500 worth of AMC? And we've talked about AMC. I like how you break it down. Break down about AMC and movie theaters, and I like how you go into that. Go ahead.
Okay, so with AMC, the only challenge with AMC is, so let's look at first thing, their balance sheet. Fundamentally, they got a lot of debt. They have a lot of debt because, they had a lot of debt. Then COVID really didn't help out their debt situation. So they have a lot of debt in the company. They also own a lot of rent to landlords that they have, that they owe rent to, that they were able to kind of get like some forbearance because of COVID. Second thing is this: the market for consumption of media in that particular form is changing. So then the question is, once the economy picks back up, let's say everybody goes to their first few movies and they feel of that and they start going back to their normal behavior. We live in a world where streaming and direct content is only going to get even bigger. Does AMC have a relationship with these particular production houses to get films, or are we going to be a scenario where these big production houses are just going to bypass AMC and go straight to the consumer? If that's the issue, how does AMC survive long term? So I think they're going to get a big boost, probably going around maybe even till Christmas. But then once everything goes back to normal, we're dealing with a market where people are used to consuming content direct to consumer on their mobile device, on some other type of portable device. So if you buy the 500 of AMC, Where do you see that going long term? And then where are you looking to exit? Are you looking to exit at a 10% return, a 30% return? Because like I said before, is that once we get back to some type of normality, we're dealing with a change in market, and there is a secular change in the market, not a cyclical. So a secular change, and I want to give you a good example. Blockbuster at one time ran the VHS game. They was a massive company in VHS. They really dominated new VHS releases. Once Netflix started to move their model to direct to consumer using streaming, Blockbuster was dead. Took a long time for them to die, but they essentially was a dead company, right? Because I used to go to there to rent video games, and they were really like nobody would be inside the store. And I remember when you would go to Blockbuster, everybody and their mama would be in there. So what I think we're looking at is a secular change in the way in which the majority of the population is going to consume media, and that's going to be through some type of streaming platform. And if AMC can't figure out how to exist, maybe as a smaller player, you may find it difficult to get an adequate return on your $500. But you have to decide what return on your 500 is acceptable, and then also what risk are you willing to take? Because maybe you put 500 in and you come back with 450.
Awesome. Listen, somebody said, who's really going to movies? So Jordan Williams, let me break it down to you. I'm from a military town, Webull, Fort Bragg. That is what there is to do, right? Yeah. If you're a young soldier, you're not trying to get in trouble. You're just trying to do something simple. You're trying to take your girl to Texas State Roadhouse, and then you're trying to go to the movies. And so you'll go there any military payday, Thursday through Sunday. The parking lot is full.
Yep.
Cars everywhere. Now, this ain't just in Fort Bragg. This is in Fort Hood. This is in Killeen. This is in Colorado Springs. This is in every little town that doesn't have a nightclub, right? Like I'm here in Houston, and I'm like, we driving by a place with the Uber driver. I'm like, it's 2 a.m. Where is these people at? And he's like, look at they over here, this club. Every place ain't like that. So
Yep.
Lots of people go to the movie theater. I live in a tech town. It's not a military town. Austin's a tech town, and you'll see 12 guys coming together and line up a whole row and watch a movie. I remember when Star Wars came out, that was going on. I remember I just saw, what's the last couple movies I just saw? It was goofy. Army of the Dead. It was 12 guys in a row. I mean, okay. So again, when people say who goes to movies, people with friends, people in medium-sized towns, right? It's just, so a lot of this is, you have to understand that it's just like bowling, right? Everybody was mad when we had COVID out, and they're like, yeah, bowling alleys can open. And people were like, why are they stressing about bowling alleys? That's a whole segment of the culture that they love bowling alleys, and they're gonna go every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's what they do. So I never knock any niche, right? One of my cousins came to San Antonio, didn't come to Austin to see me. Was in San Antonio, was on Facebook talking about where the strip club's at. Now in my mind, I'm like, who comes all the way to Texas to see some sad titties? I don't know, but they do. And so I'm like, you came all the way to Texas. You can see anything in Texas, and that's what you choose to do with your time. So again, who's going to see movies? People who love movies. That's just all it is. Now, is entertainment changing? Yes. But will you still have parents in medium-sized towns drop off 12 teenagers at the movies on Tuesday night, $5 Tuesday, every day, twice on Sunday? Yes, you will. They will do it. Just like they used to drop the kids off at the mall, drop them right off at the movie theater. I like how you said, honestly, where is AMC going to go? Yeah. That's what people don't really understand. Like, where does AMC have to go, y'all? Like they built a lot of new movie theaters, and at the end of the day, you just saw the lawsuit between Dune movie. I don't know if you saw it, Dave, but like they had the Dune movie was supposed to come out on HBO Max. Okay. Same time as the movie theater. Now they just tried out Angelina Jolie movie. Everywhere they did that, the movie didn't. Nobody went to the theater. They just watched it at home. Yep. Dune is like, we just dropped millions, like hundreds of millions of dollars on this film. It will not be shown on HBO Max. Like they've been going to court, and finally they were like, okay, it's going to show only at the theaters. Yep. So they're forcing you to go out and watch it, right? And so it's one of those things where people have to understand that, movies theater may die, but not at the death rate y'all think. So they always go to movies in New York. There you go. In your town. There you go. She's in New York, y'all.
Definitely. And what to say with a movie like Dune, sometimes as a filmmaker, you try to create a certain experience with your film that only can be enjoyed inside a big theater. And so now if we're going to go to where every movie now is going to be made for home consumption, that maybe you got a 70-inch screen or maybe you're watching on your mobile device, it's going to now change the way movies are made, because we would shoot back in the day movies on a certain type of film stock because you know it's going to be portrayed on a really, really big screen. You know, when you go to the movie theater, the screen is enormous. Then you got the full surround sound inside. So us now moving to direct to consumer is going to change, because when I'm looking at a lot of movies now, it looks like a TV movie. Yep. And I remember growing up where if a movie looked like a TV movie, in your mind is like, this is not a real movie. It's like a TV movie. Yep. Now I'm looking at movies that are put out about a lot of these direct streaming platforms, and they look like TV movies, and it's because they're shot really to be viewed at your home. Yeah, and they're cheap, and that's the thing. So yeah, so that's
Industries. Tyler Perry Studios is like, how many movies can we make directly to Lifetime Network?
Exactly.
Like when you watch Lifetime movies, or you watch what's that other channel that's Hallmark movies?
Yeah.
Like they have whole studios that are way smaller, condensed down, and they do a lot of stuff on the fly, which is nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Because their whole thing is speed. That's why them wigs be looking so bad at Tyler Perry Studios. They like, look, throw it on there. I don't care. It's a man wig. Who cares, right? So, you know, there is that the desire to spend money is only going to be for people like what? John Wick, right? Which he's known to film them fast, the John Wick movies. They have the movie The Matrix, or whatever, Reloaded, or whatever they're calling it. Yeah. It's going straight to the movie theater. There's some stuff that these studios invested in. You gonna see it at the movies. That's all you're gonna be
Exactly. And I think Dune, the kind of movie that they're trying to, the way they want to roll that out, they want to make sure that that's going to be seen in the movie theater. Yep. So you can get that experience, and then you could come home and watch it. But the way we want to roll it out, there was a movie I saw a few years ago called Interstellar. I would have hated to have seen Interstellar at home, because I don't think I could have got the same experience. But it's the way that movie is shot and the kind of the way in which it's been directed. So you're going to get that with certain type of movies. That Will Smith did a movie for Netflix years ago, in which he was like a police officer in LA.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right. That I can look at that and tell that was made directly for your television. Yep. Just the way it looked. It wasn't a bad movie, but it was a made for TV movie.
They have number two scripted, but you know, then Jada Pinkett was out here with Entanglement, so then they like So again, listen, I love all y'all commenting. Y'all have a lot of great responses. Yeah, when Wakanda 2 comes out, listen, the money they made off Wakanda, we talked about this on the other channel. The money they made, because see, they kind of downplayed it, like, oh, you know, whatever, put it out there. And then people just blew it up like it was a movement. And the back end, the movie theaters were like, oh yeah, we got dress up day. We got this, we got that. Like I went to Alamo Draft House. They were like, we have Wakanda wings. We got Wakanda fries. Like they started like a little bit too late. Like, oh yeah, look at all this stuff we're gonna do for Wakanda stuff. And when I went, I was going with white people who had went 6 times. They're like, this is amazing. The color, the everything. You cannot watch Wakanda, Black Panther. Let me stop calling Wakanda. Black Panther on TV with the same that you saw in a movie theater. You just can't.
Exactly. And I think that whole universe that they've created, that with not just with the Black Panther, but also with the Avengers and things of that nature, those are theater type movies, because you want to see the people flying across the screen, you want to hear it and everything.
All of it. Yep. Listen, I remember the original Doom as well. That's the only one I actually respect and love. 1984. Everybody that was in that movie, like you can tell that movie was underrated. Like you can tell they put so much craft and design into the outfits, the suits. And then for like, you had Star Trek dude, you had everybody you could think of in that movie, literally went on to huge careers. So that's right, the spice of life. Let me see. They said Wall Street Bets is pumping stuff this week. I believe it. I mean, that's what the platform's for. That's what this guy said. 4K destroyed silver screen movies. Now it has to be IMAX or better. I mean, I even see 4K videos on YouTube, and sometimes I'm like, nah, you need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and what I don't like about 4K is that it destroyed depth of field. So when you were shooting film, there was something that we call depth of field, where the person in the forefront would be in focus, a person behind them would be out of focus. Now with everything being so in high definition, the whole frame is in focus. I don't like that, because I come from a filmmaking standpoint to where you wanted to just focus on the subject and everything in the background be softer. So now we have this whole generation of people where they want the whole screen to be in high definition. And so he's right, that now has become something that they've become accustomed to. Well, I'm more of an old school film person. I grew up watching Hitchcock and things of that nature. So I actually like the fact that the background is out of focus and the foreground is in focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody said, right, I want to see Michael B. Jordan and Creed on the big screen sweating, glistening. Avatar, for sure, for sure. And so
Exactly.
so what are some things? I know we've been cutting up on movies here for a little bit, but what are some things when it comes to, hey, Dave, what if the stock market crashes next week? What do I do? And this is where you come in as showing them you make money if it's up or down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So in fact, I'm anticipating certain moves of companies going down tomorrow because of what's going on in crypto. And it's
Hmm.
because I have a particular skill set that allows me to make money. So what I do is I teach people how to trade the options market. And one of the things about trading the options market is that we can make money when the market goes up or goes down. And we do that with what we call contracts or put contracts. So
Hmm.
what I'm looking at doing tomorrow is getting the put contracts on specific companies that I think are going to be negatively affected by this sell-off in crypto. We could talk about that a little bit later in the show. Um, and what it does is it allows me to make money when the market goes up or down because I understand how the actual market works is where they're going to expand the market, they're going to contract it, they're going to expand it, they're going to contract it. And then some companies are going to just get contracted because they're just not really well performing companies. So some companies are going to have a bad earnings report or they're going to be performing really, really bad. And all the money is going to leave that particular market and go somewhere else. So when you understand how to monetize both sides, what I call both sides of the ledger, you can make money when the market's going up or down. So your portfolio is not really that affected. Even if you decide not to trade, if you own a position in a particular company, so let's say hypothetically you own a position in Tesla, you can get put contracts against the downfall of Tesla. So while since January or February, Tesla's been selling off, those contracts are appreciating in value because you have put contract to protect against the value of the protect against the fall of that particular company. So one of the good things about understanding how to work in the options market is one, it can generate income for you as a trader, but also it can protect your portfolio because you can play against the opposite play. So even if you're down, you can also play for it to go back up and still be able to protect your portfolio against anything that can happen in the market. And that's one of the benefits of understanding how to be an options trader.
And a lot of people, just like that young man that came to the event today, said, I don't know what to do, but I know I need to be here. Once you have a skill, nobody can take that knowledge away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I try really hard to express to people, like, people be like, oh, let's cancel this person, let's cancel this company, let's protest this company, and you'll look up 2 years later and that company's still going. You'll look up 2 years and that person is still going. When you have certain skills, no one can counsel you. When you know the tricks of the trade, no one can take your money away from you, your pot of gold. And I remember this guy saying he had like $1,000, and his family's like, "What you gonna do?" He put it right back in the stock market because he had the skill at this point. And a lot of times, what people understand is it's not gambling when you have the skill. So that's the really part. P said options is tricky. That's why Diamond Dave is here.
Yeah,
It's for
yeah.
the options market.
Yeah, and you're right about the skill because we were talking about with crypto. I knew that Bitcoin eventually was going to sell off. I knew it was going to hit a point and it was going to sell off. And so I was looking for platforms that would allow me to make money on the sell off of Bitcoin. And I wasn't able to find the appropriate platform, but I was investigating that because there's also an issue with this. And I don't want to really get deep into crypto, something called Tether. And I believe because of the implications of Tether, I believe we're going to have
Mm-hmm.
another massive Bitcoin sell off. So what I'm trying to do is put myself in a position to take advantage of that, because if Bitcoin goes from 50,000 down to back down to 10,000, I can make money all the way down. Or if Bitcoin collapses because of the issues that it has with Tether, I can also make money. So when you really start to understand the market, you understand that you're not just supposed to make money when the company's going up. You're supposed to also make money when the market's going down. And then once you understand how to position yourself, it doesn't matter what happens in the market because you can make money either way.
That's right. Goddess Noel says she totally missed and avoided all the Black Panther hype. I only watched after Chad Boseman died. I will say there were some white people. Like by the time I went and watched it with a group of friends for like the sixth time, there were some white people in the audience who were like, "Well, I only came because everybody keeps talking about it, right?" And I started laughing because I'm like, "But you're still here. You still spent your money and you're in this seat." So it's one of those things where I respect your resolve there. Somebody said, which companies are going down? Now, I'm always going to take it from the perspective. I am not an expert. Dave is an expert. I'm always going to tell you, CYA, consult your attorney, consult your accountant, cover your own butt. But in my mind, I look at news from a big spectrum. I'm outside the box. I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at commodities. I'm looking at farmers won't get paid unless they destroy certain crops. I'm looking at, shortages that happen because Trump was beefing with China, which a lot of people forgot about that. But a lot of Chinese companies were like, oh, you need that tomorrow? We'll just wait 2 more months and send it to you. Oh, it's Chinese New Year. We'll send it to you when we get ready.
Yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
so a lot of people were complaining about drop shipping and things happening in the market. That's because they don't really know what's going on. They're not stepping back just an inch and studying what's going on. So I always say, do an inventory of the stuff you use in your own house. Right? Why do we talk about Etsy so much on the other channel with Diamond Dave? Because Etsy is something I go on all the time. These
Yeah.
earrings, got them off Etsy. Every, purse, bag thing I got, my desire to buy direct from a small business guy, I go on Etsy. So of course Etsy's going up, right? In my world, it's going up, right? Um, Tesla. I'm in Austin. I'm gonna double down invest in Tesla because I'm double down investing in Austin. You
Yeah.
know, that's the thing. I make an inventory of what I see daily, what I use. Prime example, Oatly. It's a milk that
Yeah.
Jay-Z and Oprah invested in, but see, it wasn't selling so well. I loved it, but it wasn't selling so well. But all of a sudden, they went in the news and said, "Well, Oprah and Jay-Z invested," and now every black person named Mama got some Oatly in their house, right? And now I can never get it at the HEB on the black side of town. I can only go across town and get it from the other store because those are things I can see, touch, feel, and see, and know just on my level. Okay, these are companies I utilize. What's going on with them, and it makes me study from that point. But Diamond Dave may have a whole nother strategy of how he studies which companies are going down.
So I mean, and you're 100% correct. So what I do is I do the same thing you do. I look macro, and then I go down to micro. So what I do is I look like, what are the macroeconomic forces, and not to really have a really long discussion, but just really ask yourself is like, what is going on in the macro economy? What is the United States economy really based around? What
Mm-hmm.
things are going on in the news that can affect that are now bleeding to a micro situation, which is going to be that specific company. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically, the United States and America get into a really, really contentious situation with China, right? And then China, being who they are now, that government they have over there, they don't play any games with anybody. So what China may do in reaction is say, you know what, we're going to come down on American-based companies. So now every American-based company that does operations in China, their stock performance now can be affected because of this macro situation between the United States government and the Chinese government. So I always go macro to micro. I look at what is the macroeconomic situation, and then how will it affect these particular individual micro companies. And so that's what you want to kind of ask yourself. And then if you're looking at something that I call like a binary situation, like COVID was binary, it was an individualized
Mm-hmm.
situation that we knew eventually would be over.
Yep.
What companies were going to be affected by not being able to perform their business as well as a result of COVID? So a great example that we talked about earlier, AMC. If they tell
Mm-hmm.
you that you can't go outside your house and congregate with big masses of people, every company where that's their business model is going to be affected by that. So look at
Yeah.
AMC, look at the fitness gyms, look at the cruise lines, even the airplanes, which didn't
Concert.
make sense. Concerts, Live Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's not necessarily true, what people don't know is that airlines, especially airplanes, have some of the best air filtration systems in the world. But people's perception that the airplane was going to be dangerous meant that their
And it was
stock sold
dirty
off. Exactly.
because
So
they sit
you
in the
look
seat and
at,
they see the seats dirty.
I feel you, but so you got to look at how does the macro affect the micro, and then understand how that's going to affect these individualized companies, and ask yourself, does the company have a plan to deal with this micro situation? So when I looked at the cruise lines, one things I observed is that they were never able to communicate to us, the public, how we were going to deal with COVID. They just decided that we're going to just close operations and then wait for COVID to be over. Where maybe another company can say, you know what, like the airlines now I think are doing like rapid COVID testing. So when you're looking at these micro situations, anytime they're faced with a problem, do they have a way in which they can communicate to the public that's going to be reasonable, that they can try to overcome the problem, or they just try to ignore it and work their way past it, and even kind of understand how that's going to affect that individual company?
Right, right.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
even something I told, and this is again about skill, y'all. A lot of people are always like, well, how do I know? How do I know? I'm like, Made Five, great, one of my investors in my groups, in my housings, in my projects. He's also a crypto investor heavy. I mean, I'm talking about he's invested in hundreds and he's been
Yeah,
there
yeah.
since 2015. Well, he has a business, a ticket reseller business. A lot of the frat boy passport bros that were like, I'm a ticket reseller, dude. And then they like got slammed 2019 and 2020 with credit card changes and stuff like that. They went away. But see, he had an actual business mind that invested in other things, a sauce. His lady has a, barbecue sauce, all this other stuff. And so all of a sudden, when it opened back up, hey, concerts back up, he was already back in the ticket reseller game. A
Yep.
lot of guys didn't recover and couldn't get back in, right? So again, once you have a skill and you know how to do something, Like it's always yours. It's always the oyster's always yours, right? So I
Yep.
want you guys to really take an inventory in your house of what companies you use and work with, and then also just have a skill of studying. I mean, I've literally experienced from just events, conferences that people are still getting on computers. I know this sounds crazy nowadays. People are so used to phones, Apple phones, that there are some people just now getting their laptop skills up. And we experience it every day when people are like, I lost my password. And we're like, just hit forgot password.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. And Enrique answers emails like that, hundreds of them, like the simplest computer stuff. So I'm not knocking the level of knowledge of the people that watch this channel watch. I'm just doing these channels for people who don't know, right? So Mr. McCoy said, DYOR, do your own research.
Exactly.
That's a good one. When is lumber gonna tank? Listen, somebody made a comment about shortages in the chat, and I'm gonna find it again. Here's my take on it. Lumber crews have been cutting trees left and right, and they have automatic machines that cut lumber trees.
Hmm.
We don't have a shortage in lumber, y'all. Like I keep wanting to tell you. I saw her comment. Let me see if I find it one more time. Where they're talking about microchips being short. This is. I made a video and I think we didn't finish editing it. Y'all, there are football fields full of cars. You can go to Detroit, you can go to Lansing, Michigan. They have football fields, multiple size football fields full of cars. You can go anywhere in Texas, down here in Central Texas, football fields full of cars, hundreds, thousands of cars. There is no shortage on cars. Do not let these people play you on this. There's a shortage of cars. Is there a shortage on brand new cars where they can get you into certain loan packages? Yes. Is there a shortage on a bunch of cars that ain't been left a lot? Maybe 16 miles on them. If that. Ton of them. There is no shortage. Is there a shortage on computers? Nah. Nah. Now, what do I mean? Because some people say, Eric, I went to Best Buy, and Best Buy didn't have no inventory in there. There's computer inventory. It just ain't at the retail level, right? It's at a lot of these warehouses just sitting. The shortage you're experiencing is almost like the gas run last week. Oh, we out of gas, and people pouring gas into buckets and cans and bags and tearing up their cars probably later this week trying to use that gas. Y'all, the shortage is not there. I mean, all the items you need, we have them. Like we exchange with a lot of countries, but we got these items. This is kind of cracks me up. Now, if you want to get something replaced, like I'm gonna give you a prime example. I'm in trucking.
Okay.
Barely, okay? They're getting on my nerves. And we have these systems in the trucks that track where the trucks go. Nothing wrong with these systems. We bought plenty of them. We call the company. We go, hey, we want to connect this system to this other company. Oh, no. We got a delay on a new machine. I said, well, ain't it the same machine as this one? Yes. Well, let's just use this machine I already got in the truck and transfer it. Oh, no, we changed the policy in March. We got to give you a brand new machine. So what they just did is create a shortage. Yeah. See, everybody else was playing the we got a shortage game, and they won't making no money off of this, right? So they're like, oh, yeah, we got to give you a brand new machine. Now tell me why, Mr. Dave, when that machine came, it's the exact same machine. To a T, not a thing has changed. Not even the zip serial codes are similar.
Yeah, but they want to make sure y'all get the new machine. I know they can communicate some new improvements that y'all have to have to get what y'all trying to get. And it is to make sure that y'all get into the new machines. You know how it goes, because
it's to make sure they sell that money. They go,
exactly.
COVID was rough on everybody. Let's get us an additional $1 million.
Exactly.
We're gonna tell everybody they can't transfer machines, because what I started doing is people on Craigslist was like, hey, can I get some of your machines? Oh yeah, sure, here you go. And then about March, they're like, girl, they wouldn't let me transfer. See, they were stopping the secondary market where you resell stuff.
Yeah.
Trucking does a lot of that. But somebody had a great question in here. I know we cutting up. I'm trying to stay on focus. Somebody said there's an aluminum shortage. How, Sway? I see 600-pound life with lots of soda cans. There's plenty of aluminum out here. All right. Edmund Carter said, what's a good starting number to invest as a newbie?
Okay, so you got to ask yourself, I would ask you, Mr. Carter, what are your goals as an investor? So if you're looking to invest, ask yourself, what are your goals? What kind of returns are you looking to get? And how long do you want to get those returns over? And then you can try to figure out how much money do you need to accomplish that. So I wouldn't want to just give you a templated number, more based on your goals. What return do you want? And then how long do you want to make that return take place? and then you can figure out how to invest as a newbie. As an options trader, this is not going to be a guarantee. I normally tell people to start an account between $250 to $500. But as a long-term trader, it's going to be a lot more goal specific to yourself, because some people are going to come in trading and because of their goals and because of where they're trying to go, they start off in Amazon stock. Other people may have to start off in a lower tier stock, maybe like Apple, that's a few $100s. So you got to kind of ask yourself, with you personally, what are your goals? And that comes from you educating yourself on the space and you determining from an investor, how does this fit in my overall life to get me to where I want to go? It can't be the only thing, but it's going to be a piece of this big pie that you're trying to build out.
Mm-hmm. So 250 to 500 bucks. I mean, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
somebody said about Apple and Cobalt mines. We share the same affliction. That's a unique name. Would you recommend Webull for someone just starting out with investing?
I don't have an issue with Webull. I use it for alerts. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily use their brokerage. I do use it for alerts through my mobile device, because I have a particular technique where I sometimes trade options based on me getting an alert from Webull. So I've never used their brokerage, so I couldn't give you a recommendation of it. I don't have I'm not against it, but I also can't give you a recommendation of it because I don't use them as a brokerage service, but I do use them as an alert service. And I haven't had any issues with them on that end.
So again, Jehovah Panther, I'm not trying to knock you. This is something I've seen the media try to hype up. No, companies, I remember going to a conference maybe 7 years ago in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they had already said, these are the 5 cities we're going to, and this is the plan for the next 10 years. It was Chattanooga, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, Charlotte, Marietta, Alpharetta, Georgia, Austin, Texas, and somewhere in Florida. I can't remember the exact city, but it was somewhere in Florida, probably northern Florida. These companies have had this plan for 10 years. This isn't some new, like, California getting on our nerves, we leave it. No, they had already planned this. This has been, like, this conference was a real estate conference for real estate agents to prepare themselves for the influx of people. And this was 7 years ago. And then when I bring up the Forbes Town Boom list from 2016, these companies are going, I'm telling you, the next 10 years, the Southeast, when they talk about the South will rise again, some of the South will rise again because that's where they've already decided they're going to go and put cheap companies, okay? So is Arizona a next tech hub? No, it's not. You know why? Because, yes, companies can just hop over the state like they do to Las Vegas, like they do to Idaho, they do to Arizona. It's a cheap move, but it's not like a real contender move. It's like, yeah, 250,000 people moved to Las Vegas, moved to Phoenix. Can kind of talk. Moved to Arizona, but long-term water supplies, marketing, drawing people. If you live in California and a company's like, hey, we're in Arizona, come on over. You're like, But if a company's like, hey, we're in Austin, Texas. It's green, it's beautiful, it's cheap, baby, come on through. It's a marketing thing, right? Just the way the value entertainment guy left Dallas, Texas, after he left Florida, California, and now he's going to Hollywood, Florida. It's a marketing thing. He even talks about it. It's like, how do you recruit talent? You go places where it makes sense. Somebody who sees a company move to Arizona and they love their mama and daddy and where they live, they're going to stay in California. They're just going to find another company to work for and complain about it. Thank you, Jessica Hicks. We appreciate that.
All right, Jessica.
Oh, yeah, you already know. You already know. It's called creating a demand. It just is what it is. There's a shortage in DPU. I don't, what is that? Oh, he meant GPU. No problem. No problem. Ford said they need a specific for a specific chart. I believe that. Listen. Tell them like it really is, McCoy. The shortage you're experiencing is inflation.
Yep.
Diamond Dave did a great video earlier today where he talked about you're gonna need to raise your prices, and this is just what it is, right? Like I've gone to conferences where the average price now is $1,000, and nobody bats an eye. Like, yeah, that's the conference price. Wait a minute, the conference price a couple years ago was $150 to $300 because you had to fly into the city, you had to get your own hotel, you had to do all the stuff. But now they like, nah, my time is worth $1,000. That's what it's gonna be. Because COVID. That's the easy blame out. It's COVID. But really, it's inflation. Let me see here. When will EV full take over? What will happen to all these gas-powered cars? Talk to them, Diamond.
Okay, so to be realistic with people is I think the EV market will always be a percentage of the overall market. I don't think EVs are ever going to take over, even with this Biden infrastructure plan, because I want you to understand something about how America is kind of built. America really, and you'll start to understand this once you start to understand the markets a little bit better, is really, really rooted in oil. It's really rooted in fossil fuels. And one of the reasons why our dollar has value in this world is because of what they call the petrodollar. So if we totally eliminate the market for oil consumption, or we put a big hit to the market for oil consumption, what does that do to the American economy? So I think with EVs, what you're going to see is that it may be 20% of the actual car consumption market, and they're going to fight over that 20%. But I don't believe that EVs are going to wipe gas-powered cars out of the game. I don't see that happening because of the way the American economy is set up. And I don't see that the actual American economy and these capitalists have a desire to get rid of oil because they understand how that's going to impact the value of the American dollar. People need to really study the petrodollar, study the impact of OPEC doing commerce using our particular USD, understand that USD is a reserve currency, kind of understand that value and understand that oil is really undergirding all of that. So I think EVs are going to be a certain aspect of the market, but I don't think that they're going to wipe out internal combustion engines. I just don't see that happening.
On that topic, yes, you have to understand, EV is only 1% of the market, y'all. It's just barely 1%. So I'm in Austin and I see Tesla everywhere. But when I go outside of Austin, I don't see no Tesla. Now I'm in Houston, I see Tesla. But when I talk about, I go to North Carolina, I'm in Atlanta. When I'm in, we were in South Miami, Florida, which that was just hot city ratchet girls all day. But I didn't see Teslas anywhere, right? When I was in South Florida, now I'm pretty sure they're there in Florida, but I just didn't see them. I saw a lot of Range Rovers. I saw a lot of Mercedes G-Wagons. I saw some crazy expensive vehicles. You have to understand that you're talking about 1% of the market. And let's even break it down. There's 330 million Americans. Only 150 million Americans are working. So that's half. And then out of that number, 76% of those people make 30 grand a year. Last time I checked, Teslas were 60K.
Yep.
Last time I checked. Now I may be incorrect. And again, they get very bad reviews in the winter states. So you already cutting off half of America. So you pretty much going from Oklahoma up, and they looking at you like, why you got a Tesla? Because it's gonna be slow in the winter. It's not gonna run as well. There's a great Instagram page where the guy has a Tesla in Chicago, and the whole time in the cold, he kept doing videos like, see, it's not that bad. His battery would always be low. And so I want you to understand that it's 1% of the market. It's very low. It takes a long time to get that integration level that you guys are thinking of.
Yeah, and I want to add in something real quick, is that I think with the EV cars, we're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse, and we talked about with the integration. We don't really have a charging infrastructure in this country. So one of the things about the fact that we have, internal combustion engines, there's pretty much anywhere I can go in the country and I know I can get gas for my car. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't have that for the EV. I live close to 2 charging stations, but I don't know of any other charging stations that I know of in the city that I live in. I live close to 2. So we're going to have this big EV revolution of EV powered vehicles. We have to build out a backbone of charging stations. Now, Biden is supposed to deal with some of that, but it was interesting is they built the cars out first without building out the infrastructure. And so from my understanding is you got to build out the infrastructure first, then build out the cars. But they kind of, to me, decided to put the cars first. So I don't see this big revolution until a person knows that I can start in Austin, Texas, and drive to Maine, and I don't have to worry about where I'm going to get my car charged at.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they've marketed it as a hip young city thing. Yeah. So then it can only be in hip young cities. Exactly. And so then the integration and demand for them is only going to be in hip young cities, right? You make money off the charging stations, letting them be placed in certain places. So again, I want people to understand that you will still have a mom and pop who will get in a U-Haul that's gonna need gas and drive it from here to there. Same with diesel. It was hard to get diesel in parts of Texas. And so much so that truckers complained. They're like, you want me to deliver this to the middle of nowhere, but you ain't got nowhere to get no gas. And it did start to make sense. And I'm like, we in Texas and we don't even have diesel in some places, right? We got farmer diesel, which is different. It's colored red. It's dyed red for a reason. But I remember our friend and us, we were doing a car road trip, and he had a Jetta, Jetta Volkswagen or whatever you call it. Yeah. And we were starting to panic. We like, Can't find no diesel out here. We out here in Webull. We need to find diesel. And so it's gonna take a minute, y'all. I mean, I know everybody that's in these cities are promoting this, but out in the middle of South Carolina somewhere, they ain't caring about this. Yes, tech conferences are going up. Yeah, because they know it's money there. They know it's money there. They know you want to get in the space. This is the same thing. Yes, I've been looking at transportation conferences, freight sales, brokering, and they have been $695 to $1,200. Now I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I was getting ready to put on a conference. Well, I'm getting ready to put on a couple different travel shows, smaller 200 to 400 people shows in California, in Atlanta, DC. And when I look at the price of the space, I'm like, oh yeah, somebody got to pay that cost. It ain't me. So I ain't gonna lie to you. These people are gonna make the money for these conferences. And if you're in the rise of 20%, you've heard me tell you how people get to $1 million a year. Very much these conferences. America is an oil country. I mean, a lot of the world is. South America? Come on now. Cuba, Brazil, like all these places run on gas.
Yeah. And that's something else I kind of get people to understand about the EV is the majority of the world, then having an EV vehicle is not even something that's going to even be appropriate for them. You know, they're going to have to run off something that's going to be oil powered or diesel powered to move things around in the majority of the world. You know, we have very much in America, an American point of view. The rest of the world don't really run like America.
Yeah. Godzilla, thank you for the $10 super chat. She said, Erica, those trucking machines sound similar to college textbooks. You spent $125 on a new book just because they added one paragraph.
That's real.
That's been the hustle forever.
Yeah.
Like them professors are like, yo, we gotta get this money. Let me be very clear. If I'm in your city, if you live in Houston, whoever's watching this camera right now, and you want to meet me, I'm not gonna go out of my way to meet you for 5 minutes. Let's be very clear. Like, just in case y'all needed to tell you that. Let me see. Tyler Bennett is gonna take more than that. It's gonna take it's gonna take way more than that. Let me see. You know what, Melissa? I would say I agree. Yep. I remember leaving Alamo Draft House, and a group of tech buddies came out, and 2 men out of the 5 got in a pickup truck and they cranked it and they was getting ready to lead the other guys. The other 3 guys were getting to this guy's Tesla. It wouldn't turn over. And it wouldn't crank. Like, I don't know if the battery did, what was wrong, but they were out there for a good 15 minutes because I was out there chatting. None of your business. I was out there chatting with somebody, and I was like, dang, that car ain't starting. And he was laughing. He was like, that's what they get for getting a Tesla. So you already have moments where you're like, ain't no charging station over here. Like, the car ain't cranking. Don't know how to fix it. So, yeah. 4 o'clock checkout, thanks. No English is traveling. Hold on a second, everybody. Hold on.
Yeah, so Melissa, and I think that's one of the issues. Part of marketing a car, especially for certain sectors, is that strong feel of having like a car that has a big engine. And so I think that the fact that electrical cars are very silent, they don't really make a lot of noise, I think that can have an impact. And you may see that as we get the market starts to become more sophisticated, is where they may have the car with the electrical engine or the electrical motor or whatever you call it, but it does also produce the sound as if you got a traditional motor in it. Because there's a big aspect of the market that likes that sound. And they also like the feel of the pull of that engine while you're in it and you hit that gas. And so these are the kind of things that the kind of market has been conditioned to want to like. And if we just go to these electrical cars, they may not have that same connection to it.
For sure. Tyler Bennett said, I'm getting a truck though. Thank you. I appreciate everybody saying they love the channel.
Appreciate
I would never get Tesla in a place like Michigan. There you go.
Yeah.
Tesla's in Smithfield, North Carolina. I did see that. But that's because Smithfield's what? That direct line from Raleigh, North Carolina, where they're advertising it. Thank you, TC. They said Dave was on his game tonight.
Okay. Is it as Tyler, is it nighttime where he's at?
Let's see. Them cold winters, yeah. Gas stations are everywhere.
And also not the winters. I live way down south. You got to ask yourself, how does the heat impact those batteries? You know, it's so hot down here. How does the heat impact the battery? And actually, because one thing about you notice when you're living down south, the heat can impact your car battery, but also it can impact your hoses and things of that nature.
He said they need to figure out a way to make the charge quickly. Waiting 30 minutes or even hours to charge EV is a pumping gas is a few minutes.
That's another one. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I watch YouTube girls in LA, and that's the funniest videos where they be in a Tesla mad because they waiting for it to charge, and then they say, you know, they don't know if it's the charging station or what it is, but they'll wait in line for like an hour to 2 hours to charge in Los Angeles, where you know the traffic already bad.
Exactly.
And then when they get up there, they gotta wait for 45 minutes. So these girls, you know, every time I look on YouTube, they be doing these YouTube videos from their car, like, I'm so mad about this damn Tesla. And I thought it was funny at first, but that's like a real thing. Like, they bought these cars for it to be convenient. You know you're gonna be in LA traffic for a long time, and then you still get to a charging station and have to wait an hour. Exactly. Like, that's not valuing people's time.
Exactly. And I went to the park the other day, and a guy was charging his car. I don't know where he was at, but like he had just left the charge inside the car. I guess he was in another part of the park, and that's the issue. Another thing you got to ask yourself is that as that battery gets older, does it take longer to charge it? So you get a diminished charge, because that's normally what you get with most batteries, and then also it doesn't hold the charge as long. So these are the kind of things, well, if I just got to go get gas, I know I'll be in and out, just got to go get gas. Unless I got a hole in my gas tank, I got to worry about losing gas. So these are the kind of questions you got to ask with that particular type of technology.
It said car inventory turns over every 10 years. EV will be 100% car sales by 2030. ICE will be gone by 2040. I'm going to tell you like this, guys.
Yeah, I don't see it, Chief.
I can go on Craigslist right now and get me a 1999 Honda Civic for $3,000. I mean, no matter what city and state I go in, there is somebody named Julio Iglesias selling me a Honda Civic that works. My sister just bought a Honda Civic from a farm community guy. I'll just say it that way. Our family's in farm areas. We own farms for $600. It's running like a champ. He worked on it. He loved it. And the only thing she said, well, we got to go get a paint job for this and a tint job on the window. You can't beat that. It's going to be real hard in the Southeast when young men and women are starting over their life or whatever issue. My sister just bought it because she wrecked her other car and the insurance company was giving her grief. She was like, well, I'll just go buy this Honda. I just drove past the Honda the other day. Yeah. No problem. You know? So again, I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know about 100% sales. I mean, I think that's very ambitious, but I mean, we got to see. I just don't see so many people getting rid of their car, their regular car, to go buy EV, but it could happen.
Peanut Butter Hero, you're very correct. I'm here in Houston. All those oil refineries, they're not going anywhere. If you actually drive in Houston and see how those things are constructed, it takes men, and I'm not saying women don't work there, but I'm saying it takes men who want to get up and climb 7 stories up on a ladder and be working on these old machines and keep them going. And trust me, there will always be somebody in these areas who, hey, I need a job. I sure will climb up that ladder and I'll keep on going about my day. I
just think we are not really truly understand how much of our economy is rooted in oil consumption or some type of other fossil fuel. And so I just think we can get away with it if we decided that that's what we're going to do. But it's going to be hard because so much money, and you were just talking about it, has been sunk into building our infrastructure for that. They're not necessarily going to want to transition into that new space. You know, we spent so much time, money, and energy building our infrastructure to take advantage of fossil fuels, and that's so much a big part of our economy. I don't necessarily know that they're going to be very enthusiastic. I think it's going to be a segment. You know, this green energy thing is going to be a segment of our economy, especially in certain cities. But I think for the majority of the United States, it's going to still be oil. And it's also going to be oil in the majority of the world.
He said, when I see a Tesla sold in Nigeria, I'll be sold.
Yep.
Nigeria and Uganda got their own car companies. Somebody said the batteries last for 70 years. I don't know about that because I see Tesla selling backup and extended batteries all the time. So I don't know if they put more batteries in the car when you get a choice to do that or what. Shady said, Dave, how do you feel about the transportation sector? Excuse me, Shady didn't ask me. She asked you. No.
So, Shade, I'll ask you as a follow-up question so I can make sure I really understand your question. We say, how do I feel? Are you asking about something specific? Or do you asking how I feel about, like, so when you say the transportation sector, that's so broad. Can you ask me like a specific question that could kind of help me answer your question? And that'll put me in a better position to really understand, because I don't want to go really, really broad and you're asking about something very, very specific.
Okay.
You're right.
They said Tesla won't even let you work on your own via
Yeah.
vehicle. They won't even send certain parts. Probably because they want to blow up. Looking at every
Yeah.
video. Listen.
Yeah. There was a
Not
brother that
that
got a
this is a
YouTube
sticky
channel.
one. Okay.
I'm sorry. There's a brother that got a YouTube channel, and he works on Tesla batteries, and he was talking about some of the challenges that Tesla will give you if you try to work on your own Tesla. And Scott saying this is the tipping point. I mean, I get you, Scott. I feel you. And I'm not against people being an evangelist for the EV space, because somebody has to be that. And we got to have people that are going to be ahead of the curve. It's just like I said before, is that I didn't see my first Tesla till I lived in Atlanta. I knew a guy I used to play basketball with. I think he had that. It wasn't the first model, but it was like the second model, the one that cost like $250,000. And at that time, I didn't see a lot of people in Atlanta that even had Teslas. Most people at that time when I moved to Atlanta was driving that Porsche Panamera. I just think it's going to be I think all the EV cars are going to be very niche specific. They're going to be based kind of like on the market that you live in. Like you see more Porsches in Miami than you see in another Florida city because of the area. And I think that's going to be the space. I just think the middle of the country, they like big cars, big trucks. They like SUVs.
They need them.
And they need them. So I just think, Tesla, I see that they're Cybertruck. I see it. But is that a utility vehicle, or is that just something that he just did just because it looks good?
Now, Scott, I will give you a little bit. I will say there's some legislation in Oregon and in Washington talking about no more gas vehicles being made or whatever after 2030. So I do feel that there's a potential agenda push for 2030 for several things. And that's why I tell people, if you don't decide to get you some skills and get it in now, I don't want to hear nothing in about 5 years, because it's just going to be really hard. But I promise you, the money we spent in this country building up gas stations, building up Route 66 and then an alternative to Route 66, right? The money and infrastructure we put into bridges and roads, just like with the automation with the trucks. There are cities like New York, Boston, Virginia, North Carolina. There are certain cities that are 100, 300, 400 years old. And in order to try to literally take the pendulum and swing all the way to the other side, that we're going to get complete 100% automation, complete 100% EV, complete 100% renewable energy and solar panels and all this stuff, it's not going to happen. Not as fast as we think. Not as fast as we think. So yes, this could be a tipping point for sure. But there's a great book to read called Push or Nudge. I think it's what's called Nudge, where it's like the government is like, how do we get this on board? We're going to have to nudge people.
Yeah.
And they make policies to do so, right? You can't send your kids to school without shots, because guess what? It's a nudge, right? You can't do a lot of things in society because they need a little nudge to get everybody to comply. And that's just all it is to it. So, he said you can go anywhere in the world with USD and make a purchase, right? This is true.
Yep. And the reason why that's true is because of the shooters we got on deck and because of that petrodollar. That's why.
Call shooters on deck.
Yeah.
Yep. The average age of vehicles on the road is 12 years. What effect will widespread adoption of EV with the average age of vehicles? Again, like I said, my sister getting that little Honda. Price rules everything. If 76% of 150 million people working only make $30,000, they are going to go to the cheapest model. Yep. If you come out here and you show me, a what do you call that little car? Like I have like a little Ford Fiesta or the little Fiat, the Italian car.
I remember that.
That's rechargeable and it's cheap. You may be able to convince me, but not right now with what they have. Not for 60K. When somebody gonna say 60K, I'll give me a Range Rover.
Yeah, I feel you.
Julio Ocho, $5 super chat. Erica, these little Robinhood traders are gonna get destroyed. It's plain to see. Jesus said gold and silver don't participate in this fake economy. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand being bullish on precious metals. I know a lot of guys that are really big on precious metals. There's nothing wrong with that. One thing we do know is that, gold and silver will always spin. But what people are trying to do, especially in the cryptocurrency space, is trying to figure out an alternative way. I believe in crypto. I'm not necessarily a proponent of way in which people are going about it now, But I do believe that in the future, you're going to have internal communities. Let's say like uh, the Classic Climb had their own internal community, and then we have our own currency to buy and sell goods within our particular community. And you can kind of relate it to where back in the day, you used to go to the, we used to call it the game room, but other places, people call it like Chuck E. Cheese and places like that. And you would give them your money. And then if you would play games, they would give you like these little tickets. And then you would take those tickets and buy stuff inside that particular place. Well, those tickets were only good inside that particular environment. So that they kind of built their own economy. Now you use USD to finance it, but you can do the same thing with crypto. You can buy Bitcoin using USD, and then you now can transfer it into something else to buy something else. And I think that's the way the world is going. I think what we're going to have in the next few years is these own small niche communities, and people are going to want to exchange goods and services amongst each other and not necessarily use USD. And I think that's the biggest challenge that the government is trying to deal with, is that because they've gone through so much efforts to make USD that currency that everybody uses. And a lot of people are trying to get away from that.
Somebody said Kia Motors just came out with something that charges an EV in 20 minutes. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Junie said an hour to recharge. That's totally unacceptable. That's what I'm saying. Like these girls, if you go look up charging stations in Los Angeles, it's all these influencers who are just like, oh my God, I'm waiting and waiting. And like, I started laughing because they make videos out of it. It's like a funny hour. It's like, yeah, I'm waiting to charge my vehicle. Talk to me. It's super interesting. Sanatosh Clutch says, also a lot of people correlate electric vehicles with liberals, SJ warriors, virtual signaling, and girly men. That alone will keep gas, sport, and muscle cars relevant for decades to come. I know men who are 60 years old who like Porsches, can't even get in them well. Like back, body can't get in them well, but they work on them and they keep them collected. And they go sell them and they take them to the car shows. There's something about that culture. It just is what it is, right? And I will say, I used to joke, and we say Subarus are for lesbians, right? And when I see them, I see people saying, I can take it off road, Erica. Why are you talking about this vehicle like that? I'm like, I'm just telling the joke. Get off my back. EV bicycles, those are popular, but they don't let you go on all trails, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said NASCAR will never be electric. No, it won't.
Exactly.
There you go, Daquan. Carbon standard. Yeah, there's a thing. They're pushing it. It's going to get some pushback. Trust me. The way people voted for Trump, I think, showed our government like, oh, wait, we still got like 60 million people that are like, no. So trust me, we've got a good grip of Americans with a certain type of American attitude that we just ain't gonna roll over like that. All right, let me see. We're going on an hour, so I don't want to keep him here all day. True, they said heat impacts batteries. Air conditioners use the power too. Yep,
definitely. And it gets super hot down here.
Yep, this is true.
Yeah.
It said people want to work on their own cars, especially men. Tesla has a monopoly on the part.
Exactly. That's going to be another issue. And then where do you get parts from? You got to go directly to the factory. Or can you get aftermarket parts?
Adrian said if they give rebates like they do in housing. I was like, yeah, if they give rebates, they may do it. So Anthony Williams, I know everybody, again, marijuana is not, you saying it's legalized, but the federal government, the feds can come in your house, kick you in your face, and take you to jail for Fed time.
Exactly.
Trust. It's, again, I love when people use that argument. I'm like, but it's the feds, okay?
Yeah.
Tyler Bennett, that's possible. That's possible. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see. Janelle Rock, I'm not saying that it won't change, but what I want y'all to understand is the rate of change. I get it. Y'all are buying it. Hook, line, and sinker. I got it. I feel you. Watch the Netflix documentary some more. But trust me, there will still be a guy who goes, I'll take $10,000 in my pocket and go buy a Ford F-150 from 2012 and go on down the road and go on and live his life. Trust me.
Yeah. And Miss Rock, I would ask you, because a lot of people that are really bullish on EV are bullish on EV from a technical standpoint. But the question is, does the average car consumer care about the technical aspects of EV? So the question is, if I'm looking at the average car consumer in the category of car that they're looking to buy, how do I market to what they want using an EV vehicle? And when I'm looking to go buy a car, I rarely look at like the technical aspects of the car. I go by how the car looks, how it feels, how it makes me feel, and also what do I think people are going to think about me if I'm in this particular car.
Yes.
So I think people got to kind of bring that into the EV space. And I think that's why Tesla built out the line that they built, to try to make their models look a little bit more prestigious, as opposed to just building out like those little mini smart cars. But I think we need to look at a lot of people that are really bullish on EV are worried about a lot of the technical aspects of EV. And I think the average car consumer doesn't understand anything technical. They're more worried about price point, reliability, and then what are people going to think about me if they see me in this car? And so if we can kind of look at it from that standpoint, then we can kind of ask ourselves, what kind of vehicle do we need to build it, and how do we need to market it to get the mass acceptance? Because I don't think it's going to work the way the government is going to try to legislate that we all utilize these particular EV models because they say so. I think just by them doing it from that aspect, they're going to get a lot of resistance.
Okay. Said charging is worse than dial-up internet.
I believe you. And they also got to fix, you said, like you said, the charging issue. And I thought Tesla was going to have the ability for you to charge in your home, but I guess they haven't gotten to that level yet. But I think that may be able to solve some of the charging issues. One of the things that I didn't like about the Tesla, like I said, I played ball with a guy that had one of the first models, is he told me you got like 225 miles. So I was like, I don't want a car that's that big that I can't even drive to the next city. So that was my issue. If I'm living in Atlanta, I want to go to family in Gastonia. I can't get there without having to charge that car again. So that was my biggest challenge, is that it was a nice car, had nice size to it, but it didn't have a lot of miles per charge. And like I said, as I'm always worried about, as I have the car older, longer and longer, as the battery power starts to diminish, how far does it go down? And anytime you're dealing with a battery and they tell you it gets 225 miles, it'll probably get 180, because nothing ever really hits the specs like they say it does.
Again, fat fire and people that are frugal people, paid off cars are going to be, telling you. Oil used in medical, auto, and other industries to completely absolve it would take years. Rich Rebuild, yeah, everybody knows Rich Rebuild, very popular.
Yeah. That's him.
Exactly. Ford Raptor is a $70,000 vehicle. I've seen military guys get Ford Raptors, and you think, bro, you in the military, what you doing? But again, it's one of those things. So, stop the great. Hey, we're doing everything we can. We're doing our part. Let's see. Anything else in here I missed? Did I miss anybody else? Again, Jehovah Panther. I keep telling y'all, there are football fields full of used cars. You are only getting a little sample of the market, and it makes this fake, like, oh my God, everything's expensive. No, it's not. Go an hour outside your town. Go an hour outside of Atlanta. Go an hour outside of Tampa. There's somebody somewhere selling something for 10K.
Yep.
Also, this is something I think of, Diamond Dave. You ever see when a Beamer gets in an accident and the person ain't got enough money to fix it? Like they had just no money for that Beamer, but their insurance bill told them, you're going to put a couple grand in this. So now they riding around with a 5 Series or a 3 Series with broken windows or busted tail lights. You're like, oh, you couldn't afford that. That's the same thing I see in the EV space. You're going to get this EV car. You ain't going to have no money to fix it. You're going to be like, well, you know, I had to get another car. I had to use my old car. And that's the same thing. I think this is the last one, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Erica and Dave, I'm 57. I'm looking for growth and income to retire in 10 to 15 years. Can I invest $500, $700 a month? I'd like to learn options.
Yeah, definitely you can. And Erica can shoot you the link. I can definitely teach you how to get to that goal. And you look to retire in 10 to 15 years in a relatively short amount of time. In fact, in less than 10 years, if you apply yourself, you can become an expert at the market. And because the average person is not going to spend any time learning it, so your actually pool of competition is not going to really be that great. You just got to decide that that's what you want to do, and to just go for it and be diligent and be consistent.
DC Johnson, you shut your face, because I love Ford. In Texas, they're very popular. Okay, so I didn't see anything else that talked about stocks in here, you guys. A lot of y'all talking about precious metals. I feel you. I understand you. We could go on all day about this. Again, this person right here, same thing. Diamond Dave, I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, Webull. I've never bought Dogecoin on Webull, so I couldn't tell you. Just would tell you that try to utilize a platform that if you decide to liquidate your, you're not gonna have an issue.
Okay. Ooh, y'all put so many comments in here. Like, thank you for there's like over 300 people that's been in and out. There's actually been over 700 people in and out this whole live stream. So make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all share this, help us out, leave comments. Again, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Hawaii, not going EV exactly. Prime example of what we're talking about. Yeah, again, I get it. I agree with all the comments.
Exactly.
You can't drive 500 miles in one day with
exactly.
it. Exactly.
Exactly. Especially down south, where like I used to live in Tampa and date a woman that lived in Miramar. We're talking about 4.5 hours.
Woo.
So if I couldn't get on the road and drive to go see, I got a problem. And I used to go down there every weekend. So that's the issue, is that they exactly that's the issue. So we got to figure out how to deal with that issue, because I would go from Tampa to Fort Myers, get gas, and then drive from Fort Myers to Miramar, and then come back after the weekend was over. So that's the issue, is that we got to get miles. We got to get miles on these cars. That 250 is not going to get it.
Yeah. That's another one for you.
I'm independent with the 100K in reserve. Okay, so what I would do is try to figure out, since you got 100K in reserve, can you take a segment of that 100K and start concerning yourself with options trading, but have it not take away from your personal training business? Because as a personal trainer, you're selling your time. What I'm able to help you to do is to figure out how to create more income without that same type of time constraint. And then what you would do is you'll have another skill set to where if you want to kind of bring your personal training down, you don't have to worry about a big drop in income, because you start to understand how to really play the markets. So I wouldn't tell you to take away from your personal training business. I'd tell you to ask yourself, how can you take a small amount of your reserve and some of your time and use that to build up your skill in this particular area? So now you're not so dependent on personal training business to bring in income. Y'all
are cracking me up. Read the comments when you get back later.
Yeah.
It must be hot.
Yeah, but you got to understand, in Florida, and especially in some parts of the South, to drive 4 or 5 hours not a big deal. Like I'm from the Orlando area. We would jump up and just go to Miami, and it's 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And then come right back the same day. So that's just how we live down here.
I'm getting ready to drive back to Austin right now, y'all, and I'm having to mentally talk to myself like, we can do it. Get in the car, girl. That's why I'm getting the Tesla, so I can just be like this when I go to Dallas. Just play like I'm riding. You just gotta touch the steering wheel every couple of minutes or so. They said Dave has plenty of videos on his channel. If you have questions about his course, I think he answers there on his channel. There's plenty of information on there. Again, Dave, can your name of your channel one more time for them?
It should be Diamond Dave. Should be my channel. On YouTube.
And I shared the community tab. He answers plenty of questions about his course on there. Again, I always tell people, you know the answer, what you need. What do you need? Take action and get it. So,
yeah.
All right, you guys, this is your Erica from the Classy Climb blog. Oh, I don't ride that I-10, baby. I don't do that one. I do that 290, the country road. You know, if I break down, some country man gonna come by and help me and change my tire and put me back on the road. It's happened before. That's crazy. Anyway, all right, you guys. They got a lot of commentary about if they had to drive, an hour, it ain't gonna work. But listen, he's committed, y'all. Great live, everybody. Thank you, Ben the Bartender. Ben the Bartender put Diamond Dave's channel in the chat. Thank you, moderators. Thank you for helping. If you have questions about his course, boom, hit inside that video. He has plenty of videos, and you can reach out and touch him, and we put his class in the link. So thank you, Dave. Tell them where they can find you on the internet and everywhere else.
You can find me on YouTube under Diamond Dave. I'm also available on the Instagram at Diamond_Dave. So if you got any questions, reach out to me. Reach out to my channel. Let me know. Hope you really enjoy the content, because my goal is to really try to help you to understand the markets, understand how you can utilize the markets to make money. So when we have days like this where crypto's selling off, you're thinking in your head, how can I monetize the situation and put myself in a position to make me some money?
Y'all gonna need it, baby. Y'all gonna need it. So anyways, all right, you guys, have a great day. And listen, be careful, because guess what? Erica's still on the Block Ministries. All right, everybody, have a great day. Have a good day.